knew he had lost his focus. On his next two shots, he hit the ball into the sand trap and put it over the edge of the green. Not only did he miss the last putt, he lost the Masters. Well, you know, that's a pretty tough loss. Right? There's probably, I would venture to say, a lot of money with that prize, prestige, maybe one of them gold jackets like you see on TV. That'd be hard. And he was probably heartbroken. But I'm here to tell you, there's a whole lot more at stake if we take our eyes off of Jesus. There's a lot more at stake. He missed the putt, and he failed, Palmer said. And you don't forget a mistake like that, but you can learn from it, right? You can learn from that mistake. And he'd become determined to never let that happen again. All the failures in the Christian life can be traced back to, well, losing our focus, huh? Or taking our eyes off of Jesus. Although it might be momentarily, it might be for a reason. Maybe you're at work and you get angry at somebody and you're having an argument or something. Well, for that second, you're trying to think of how to out-talk that other person, right? You're trying to think, I gotta get one up on him, I gotta get one up on him, Well, while you're one up on him, you done forgot about Jesus. Where's Jesus at in that conversation? Right? We all do it. Everybody does it. It happens. On different occasions, in the book of Hebrews, Paul speaks to us about keeping our eyes on Jesus. We read in Hebrews 3, verse 1, "Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Jesus Christ, who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house." There's a man who kept his eyes on Jesus. And we know what the Bible tells us about Moses. Moses was pretty large in the Bible. The word consider is a Greek word. Now, I've practiced this several times, and I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Katano. It means observe fully. Well, that's a pretty hard word to pronounce, but we're after the meaning anyway, aren't we? Observe fully. The idea is to fix and keep your eyes on Jesus, the high priest of our profession. In our text, Hebrews 12, verse 1 and verse 2, Paul speaks of the importance of keeping our eyes on Jesus. So let's go ahead and read. 12 verses 1 and 2. "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." Verse 2. "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God." The cross. Sometimes I sit and think, But what if I had to pay for my own sins? If he didn't take all of my sins and our sins, what if I was supposed to go up there? I couldn't handle what he could. Couldn't even begin. The first time they hit me with one of them whips, I'd fold like cards. But he didn't. He admonishes us to keep looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. The word looking is the Greek word apharo and means to consider attentively, and carries the idea of fixing your eyes on Jesus. The writer also speaks of Jesus as the pioneer of our faith. The word author is the Greek word archegos, and there it is. And it suggests such a concept as leader, or originator, or founder, or pioneer. The term was used for those who cut a path for their followers. The word is translated in Hebrews 2, verse 10 as captain of our salvation. As the pioneer of our faith, Jesus is the originator of our salvation and has cut the trail for each of us to follow. Now think of that. Think how hard that's got to be just by itself. Each one of us has a path that we're on. But here's the kicker. My path isn't the same as Frank's. Right? I have something to do in this world that is different from him. And his is different from Judy. And so on and so on and so forth. So he's cut the path for every single one of us. They all lead to heaven. They all lead to him. Right? That's amazing. That is amazing. He is not only the author of our faith, but he is also the finisher of our faith. The Lord Jesus is both the originator and consummator of our faith. What he started, he will finish. He will finish. He not only cut a path for us to follow, but he will also lead us every step of the way home. Every step of the way home. As we follow him, we must keep our eyes on him. As we look at our text, I want us to notice what happens when we take our eyes off Jesus. The writer takes a picture of a runner in a race. And he takes pictures of certain dangers that we face when we, as followers, take our eyes off of Jesus. First, taking our eyes off of Jesus is, number one, the source of spiritual defeat. It opens the door for the devil to come in and get a hold. Verse 1 tells us to lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. The writer reminds us of the possibilities of being hindered or hurt as a runner of our race. His words are a reminder of the dangers of being spiritually defeated. Notice how the writer describes that we should be a victorious runner. We should be celebrated as we run. He tells us to lay aside every weight. The picture of the runner taking off everything and removing every hindrance so that nothing will hinder or slow him down, enabling him to be a victorious runner. The Greek scholar A.T. Robertson said that every hindrance that handicaps is laid aside, and there is no trailing garment to hinder or trip one. There are many things that can hinder or trip us from either running the race or running the race well. Now, A.T. Roberts is kind of made it, I can't remember the word that I'm looking for, but anyway, he's equated it to a race. Well, we are running a race, right? We're running our own race. And anything, what the verses is telling us here, is anything that is weighing us down, anything that has taken our focus off of Jesus Christ. Now, I've said it 100 times, and God willing, I'll get to say it 100 or 1,000 more times. But life gets in the way. And that makes it even more important to keep our eyes on Jesus. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, because we're focused on Jesus, everything's going to be cotton candy and rainbows. Because it's not. We know that. But stay focused. There are the hindrances that handicap us, those trailing garments that slow us down, even trip us up, make us fall. Old devil, he throws a roadblock out there all the time, doesn't he? And he's so subtle about it, we don't even realize sometimes that it's a roadblock. You know, one of our best friends might come up and say, even just the littlest, slightest thing, such and such said the other day that you blah, blah, blah. And my gosh, you're off on a rant. Before you even realize it, I never said no such thing. Look how far away you went. 2 seconds. 0 to 60. Gone. It's hard. I understand. Doubt about their salvation can defeat us. Doubt about our salvation can defeat us. The devil loves to use doubt. Doubt. In every aspect of your life, he will throw doubt in there. He will throw doubt in there. Doesn't matter what you're working on, doesn't matter what you're doing, doesn't matter who you're going with, he'll throw some doubt in there. Now, how many times have we been doing something, working on something, talking to somebody, and that thought of doubt has come in our head, and we've stopped, or not necessarily stopped, changed direction of what we were doing or explaining or talking about, just because I can't remember if, now was it this way or was it this way? And if I tell them wrong, then I'm going to be the one to blame. So I'm just going to take the safe road and give the overall, I'm just going to get away from that answer. You see what I mean? Doubt. He'll throw it out there. So doubts about your salvation can easily defeat you. There is no misery like the misery of having doubt about your salvation. There's many Christians defeated by uncertainty of knowing whether they were saved or not. Unbelief causes many to stumble. The fear of taking God at His word, trusting Him with certain things at certain times, may cause us to stumble. Now here's a good one. I like this one. How many times has all of us, even myself, asked, really need this, or I really need you in this situation, or I need those yesterday. I need it right now. Can you please help me? I'm in trouble with this. And we don't get it. How many times have we needed something? And his answer was, okay, son, calm down first of all. And you need to slow down. You can have those, but you're not going to get them until next month. Doesn't matter what it was that we needed, doesn't matter what the situation. So here's the devil's door. He didn't give that to you. He don't love you. He didn't give you what you needed. He let you fall, right? Doesn't he do that? He does, and he'll do it every time. Many have missed God's will, have missed the will of God because they just wasn't trusting. They just wasn't keeping their eyes firmly planted on Him. We are robbed of untold blessings every day because of unbelief. There is pride that has often been a trailing garment in our race that causes us to trip. D.L. Moody's advice was, be humble or you'll stumble. Be humble or you'll stumble. That's pretty straightforward. Sometimes it's hard to be humble. Sometimes, the old flesh wants to do what the old flesh wants to do. There's a story of a Roman general. He was a great Roman general. And he was off in another land. He was coming back to Rome. He was arriving, And he was given a hero's welcome. Great big parade. Triumphant parade of victory. And a philosopher was hired to ride beside him in the victory parade. As the victor acknowledged the cheers of the crowd and all the love that he was getting, the philosopher kept whispering in his ear, "You are mortal. You are mortal. You are a man. You are mortal." How we need to be reminded again and again that we are sinners. We are sinners. And we are saved by grace. None of us on the planet deserve it, but He gave it to us. He gave us His grace. That's enough right there to keep us focused, isn't it? None of us deserve it, but He gives us grace. Not only does He give us grace, He blesses us with so much. Think of this little blessing right here, this little church on this little country back road that not many people know is even here. But we're sheltered from a lot of troubles in the world right here in our little white church in the Vale, aren't we? We're protected. It's a blessing. Bitterness is another thing that hinders us from running the race and has tripped many of Christians up in their life or in their race. We read the story about the foreman on a construction job was noted for his vulgarity and ungodly disposition among men who worked for him. They didn't like their boss. He was foul. A Christian man on the job was grieved to hear so much cursing and vile language that one day he got up the courage to speak to his foreman on this matter. And this is what the foreman told him. was once a pastor of the First Baptist Church of this city. Some troubles arose in the congregation of such magnitude that there seemed to be no solution. He was so distraught and provoked, he didn't know what to do. So one Sunday morning, he walked up to the pulpit and literally tore his Bible up into shreds and threw every piece at the congregation. Then he walked out of the pulpit, out of the church, vowing never to enter again. And he says, that's why I am the way I am today. Filled with bitterness. Now that story in itself is really sad. Really sad because there's been a lot of people that has come to a church and has been hurt. And they won't go back. Bitterness against a family member or a friend or a former employer or just an acquaintance. Something happened between them and they feel that they were done wrong and they're never able to let go of it, to get it out of their system. Some are even bitter with God. Some blame God for things that happen and the way they feel. If he really loved them, he would never allow that stuff to happen. They have taken their eyes off of God. It's easy for the flesh to blame someone else for their problems. Don't take your eyes off of God. We've been studying fear for the last couple of weeks, and you know what? Our flesh, there'll be times when we do fear. But we can start praying. If we keep our eyes on God and we start praying, you know as well as I do, I don't even have to say it, he'll answer prayer immediately sometimes. We don't have to be afraid, but we got to keep our eyes on God right up to the very end. Right up to the very end. Now, I got a lot more that I could go on with, but I think we all know, we're all familiar with keeping Jesus out front, keeping him in everything we do. We all know how to do that. And I urge each and every one of us to get as close as we can. To get even more even as close as we can. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. As close as we can. You know, I've been, it's hard for me. I try not to watch this about the war, and I try not to watch that about the war, and I try not to listen to these ones, and because I'll get worried. I'll start worrying, well, what if they come over here, or what if the banks may close, or what if the food stores may close, or, well, you know what, I have to kick myself in the butt and remind myself that God fed them when they were in the wilderness for 40 years, didn't he? He's going to feed us. He's going to take care of us. We might have to do a little leg work, y'all. We might have to go out and get a deer or some squirrel, you know. care of us. But we got to stay focused on Him. And now is just about the most important time in all of our lives. That is the most true. But you know what we got that some people don't have? We have each other. If you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling down, or you're feeling upset, or you're losing your race, call. I don't know that I'll have the right answer, but I'll sure make you laugh. I'll make you feel better. And that's what we all need to be here for each other. We're all right here in this congregation for a reason. He put each and every one of us here. Stay focused.